Goblin Slayer buffed. How do I feel about this unit? Is his buff really good, or whatever the case may be? This just dropped on the Twitter page for Grand Summoners, and I wanted to talk about it because yeah, let's just break it down. So Goblin Slayer's buff, what did he receive? Is it good? How do I feel like it's going to change the unit, if it is going to change him at all, or is he any better or worse than what he already was? So if we actually want to look at him side by side, this right here is everything that Goblin Slayer can currently do. He has 1100% dark damage physical, permanently increase own damage and break power every time skill is used, up to a maximum of 50%. His art is a 16,000% water damage physical. For 10 seconds you reduce the enemy's break resist by 25% and damage resist by 20%, and his true art is 42,000% dark damage physical. The less HP, the more damage and break power during true arts, up to a maximum of 200%. For 60 seconds you increase your own arts by 2 per second and 3,000 break. His abilities are increased damage to demon enemies by 50%, increase freeze and paralysis resist by 100%, and when near death you increase arts by 4 per second. Now moving on to his buffs, what did he receive? Now first and foremost, if we look right here, boom, you see it up on screen, his skill actually did get a pretty sizable buff. He now can stack up his skill damage all the way up to 100%. It's no longer 50%, it's now 100%. So hey man, that's pretty good, not gonna lie, pretty good. 100% damage up on a skill, very nice. Also on his normal art, I think it's the exact same, is it? Or is it actually, no, his normal art actually got buffed. He now does 30% break resist down and increased damage to enemies by 30%. That's actually not a bad debuff at all. That's very usable and very good. And then his true art got a 3,000 modifier increase. Yep, it went from 42,000 to 45,000, and it now gives you 300% damage up instead of 200%, which is pretty alright. And it also gives you the same amount of art gauge that it did before. Now, how does this change Goblin Slayer as a unit? Is it any better? Is he any worse? Is he okay? Is he whatever? Now, as for Mono Dark specifically, for all my Mono Dark heads out there, Goblin Slayer really has to compete with just what Mono Dark is supposed to be, right? Mono Dark, whenever you're using it, is just a nuking team. Goblin Slayer is a sustained ramping damage dealer, and you're really not going to be using them in those Mono Dark situations. However, it's not a bad idea to use him as a filler unit because his slots aren't too bad for nuking with the 5-star physical and 4-star physical, and his normal art does increase your damage to enemies by 30%, which is a multiplicative debuff. It is able to be there, and you can use him for that now if you want to. As for other things in the game, sustained damage dealers, he still has the major problem with him where he just doesn't have crit chance. If you can give him crit chance now, I think he's definitely going to be pretty nasty, but you also have to consider the fact too, he wants to lose his own HP so he can increase his damage he deals. So you're definitely going to want to be using like B3 Claw in that 4-star physical slot so he can constantly be reducing his own HP so you can get that huge damage buff, because you're going to be getting at max, if you get him, I'm assuming to red life, which is where he'll have the maximum damage buff, you're going to have a 400% damage increase if you're factoring in his skill and his true art. Also, another thing that's really cool about Goblin Slayer is that with his art gauge is able to stack. In some situations you could get away with using him as your main ramping damage dealer if you don't have anybody else. Like if you don't have Yusuke, you don't have Decilia, you don't have Arvid, he could be really good. The problem with it though, and the problem with this buff, is that unfortunately it doesn't do enough to make Goblin Slayer super OP. The thing that would have made him super OP if they would have said now gives 100% crit chance or something like that during true art, that would have made him insane and would have made him so freaking good. But they don't want to do that, and I don't think they should do that because that kind of like completely changes him as a unit and just pushes him beyond everything. But as a luck unit though, that's another thing we have to consider, because he's now going to be able to be at 120 luck. Hey, this is not bad at all. As a luck unit, he's going to be able to do some serious deeps and help out his team and just deal tons of damage, and it's going to be really nice for you. So hey, if you definitely have him, I definitely feel like that you will want to 120 luck him because he's going to help you out a ton and just make it easier to farm a lot of different events and stuff. But guys, I think overall Goblin Slayer is looking pretty nice, pretty strong, I want to say. Definitely could be used in some comps. I think some comps could definitely make him work very nicely. Like for example, using him and Daki alongside each other, you could probably see some pretty insane damage numbers, and I definitely want to try out that comp whenever he comes out. But guys, thank you all for coming out. It's been your bro P. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more. Of course, I know, you know, this video is kind of like random. I don't usually do these kind of videos whenever they first drop, but I wanted to make a video today. I haven't made one in like 2 days, and I want to try to get back into things. things, and I'm still trying to recover, so I'm trying to take it easy on what I upload, and I'm not trying to go too crazy. I don't really want to sound like I'm being lazy, but literally I can't push myself too much like I used to, and I have to be kind of easy with it until I'm able to get back to 100%. But guys, thank you all for coming out. It's been your bro P, and last but not least, man, don't forget to drink water.